welcome to episode 4 of Love People Enough. I'm Micah. My co-host Pat is out today, but one of our new co-hosts is here. He has not replaced Pat, but he's just one of the people who will fill in from time to time. Aaron is a good friend of mine. Welcome, Aaron, to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Micah. So I just recently retired from the Army after 20 years of service. I flew helicopters for the first 10 years, and then I was a data science analyst for the last 10. And now I'm here, looking for work.
I hear that. It's great to have you here. So today's episode we're going to talk about the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. That was a shock to the country, I think, no matter what side you were on, period. You know, I was driving home that day, and my cousin called me on the phone, and his first words are, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" You know, and I got like that knot in my stomach. He says, "Did you hear about Charlie Kirk?" And I immediately said, "No way. Tell me that's not something happened to Charlie Kirk." He said, "Yeah, assassinated." Speaking, gosh, it was, I don't know how it affected you at the time, and I don't know how, but for me, as someone who I consider myself in the middle, but I definitely lean right. Mm-hmm. You know, when I think about a lot of the really high profile names on the right now, people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, maybe like Theo Von, Joe Rogan, all those people have something in common, in my opinion, and I would say that's either a growing anti-Semitism or a entrenched, the worst, most poisonous, vile version of anti-Semitism you can possibly think of, and I'm specifically talking about Tucker and Candace right now. Mm-hmm. You know, a couple of years back, I would have always put, and I think a lot of people still would, they'd put Charlie Kirk in the same sentence as these same people. But the reality is they were very, very different. Charlie, as you probably know, I'm a big proponent of Israel. And that's only because I do a lot of research in my free time into finding out the truth of what's going on. And Charlie was a huge fan of Israel. You know, he was a Christian, he was a religious. And according to him, as he said at one time, he said something to the effect of, as far as I'm concerned, the Jews are God's chosen people in this life and in the next, to make it crystal clear how he felt about the Jews being a Christian.
It's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement. What it says is that I have your back. You know, that's what it says. Is say I'm doing some of the research myself, and I'm going to speak the truth, irrelevant of anything else. Mm-hmm. And so for me, and Charlie's whole thing is he was a talker. His whole thing was he literally talked about when we stop talking, that's when violence occurs. He literally went to institutions, places where, our youngest who have just gotten out of college, who are just going into this world where they're being often I don't know if indoctrinated into that world, but they have so much information thrown at them, and their opinions are really starting to form that'll often, I think, set the stage of their entire lives after that. It's such a critical time to have those important discussions. Yeah. And so that's what he did. He went to colleges and he debated people, and if any of you have ever watched any of the clips, there's 1,000 of them out there, especially right now, you see almost the same thing in every clip. You see a vile, hateful person spewing personal attacks against him, racist attacks against him, attacks against his character, attacks against the way he looks, and then Charlie responding with facts and logic. And you look at those two sides, whenever you watch those videos, I think if you are a logical, semi-impartial human being, you should come away saying, Charlie was the guy doing the right thing. Even if you disagreed with his opinions and his values, he expressed them in a, what I thought was respectful and thoughtful and knowledge-driven way. And like me, right, as I mentioned this, I think just last night to you, right, my beliefs at any time are always welcome to be challenged. That's good. Whatever I believe it's because I've done the homework, I've done the research, and that's how he was as well.
Yeah.
When he had something to say, he said it because he did the work. He did the research. He did the knowledge. And even if everyone else was against what he said, he told the truth because he figured it out himself, right? He did the hard work, irrelevant of what was correct or even politically correct. He told the truth, in my opinion. And I think that created quite a lot of enemies. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say in general, obviously it is a true shame. Charlie Kirk was one of the good ones on the right, especially compared to Tucker and Candace. Those are some of the most disgusting and vile people right now. They are radicalizing the right towards terrorism and towards Jew hatred like I've never seen. Yeah. They're doing such incredible damage. And I hope someone stops them. And I don't mean through violence. I mean that, do we not have governing bodies?
Arguments, logic.
No. I'm talking about misinformation. I'm not talking about differences of opinion. Those need to be, please, they should never be touched. But we're talking about you're spreading lies and you're radicalizing people because of your lies and your enormous following. Do we not have some governing body that says, hey, that's not allowed? We're shutting you down.
No.
How could that be? Really?
We shouldn't. No.
What, misinformation? Lies? Or is it as simple as the other side will always paint the other side as misinformation and then always block whatever they had to say?
That's part of it. But who dictates what's correct? Right? I mean, that's why we have the First Amendment. Right? People say what they want to say.
How about one like from Candace or Tucker? I don't remember which one. Probably both of them. The Jews are responsible for 9/11.
Well, I mean...
Or Tucker Carlson. We sided with the wrong side with the Germans in World War III.
My biggest thing is people just need to be educated. And they have to learn. They have to learn to research. And they have to do their homework. Because they just listen to the talking heads. And you pick your poison. They're on both sides of the camp. And it's awful, but at the same time, who gets to be the person that dictates what's right or wrong? And that is the struggle.
It sure is.
And that's I think why democracy usually works.
Yeah.
Usually.
It works till it doesn't, right?
Exactly.
It works until one group becomes so radicalized that their ability to all vote is destructive to the health of the entire country.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah.
And I guess that's my concern with stuff like that. If you had asked me even a year ago where I thought the majority of anti-Semitism was, squarely on the left. And I mean by a long shot, especially with the youth, right? We got studies showing it's something like 1 out of every 2. Some statistic is one of our previous episodes, so just know I got the statistic right once upon a time. But it was something to the effect of every other young person in America, age 18 to 24, half of them support Hamas. Half of them. Half of our most precious children who have just gone on to become adults and responsible people. Every other one is on the side of terrorism. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
And where does that come from? It comes from, in my opinion, powerful personalities that are so strong that people just
listen.
They do. They say, I love Bob, and I'm going to hear everything Bob has to say.
I love Lamp.
I love Lamp. Every Monday morning I tune into Lamp, and Lamp tells me, right? And they do so much truth that just when they lie, you don't even notice.
Yeah.
You don't even see it.
Yeah,
like Candace and Tucker.
So I guess the intro, I'm very not political in terms of I don't do a ton of research. Listen to things like you said about the, Israel, Hamas, who gets it. So, I buy a book and then I read the book. And that's how I try to get my information. And I try not to listen to talking heads because when you see a bunch of people, all like-minded, sitting around, circle jerking each other off,
Sure.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. So, so I just tried to read and learn about the situation. But the fact that an 18-year-old, I'm 43, can choose between Israel and Hamas, how?
It says so much about where we are at in society when you can't tell the difference between those two groups.
Well, but like what's right or wrong versus what research have they done?
Most people?
Zero.
You're right. Many people aren't getting any research. They're getting their information from social media. And like I mentioned the other day, right, I realized a while back that I was doing a little bit of TikTok at the time. I started going into each one of the social media apps just for my research, just the way that I am, because I wanted to see what kind of information they were peddling in the realm of the stuff that interests me and how much of it is correct and how am I being lied to. Mm-hmm. TikTok was number one, the most dishonest. They took the things that I believed in and they made them not only 10 times worse, they made it seem like it was happening everywhere in ways that it wasn't. They took truth and they poisoned it enough to not be able to see the truth in it. And that truth is so important. And when you lie about the truth, you overshadow that truth. It never sees the light of day. Mm-hmm. And then you have other sides. For example, we dismiss the whole thing, right? And I know, not to go into too much of a tangent here, but with America, we're going to have our own U.S. version of TikTok soon. They're working on that. The sale is going through, supposedly, right? Are we going to fix that fucking thing? Are we going to allow it to continue to poison our youth? Not even just our youth, people like me and you?
The thing is, the algorithms that they use, they're just to get views. They don't give a shit about truth, what's true or not.
Which is why someone needs to, right? So, for example, if a video comes out and it says 92% of Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, that is a bold-faced lie.
92%.
Right? Exactly. 92% of them are all been killed by the evil Jews, right? It'd be some version of that statement. And make no mistake, I love you guys, okay? I love you guys, you Jews. I love you guys. Make no mistake.
8%
That's something
left.
I say someone should come down and slap that person down. That video should be removed. And if that continues, that person and that organization should be banned,
That's so hard to police this, though. I mean...
But it's not. I mean, no, wait. Wait.
It is, because...
Most of it is, but some of it, like the example I gave, is so blatant, I don't see why we couldn't focus on things like that. Take the easy wins, right?
Okay.
92% of Republicans like to drown their babies, right? Some insane thing like that. Like, it's so insane, right? We know how insane that is. Something like that shows up on TikTok, YouTube, whatever. That should be shut down. What do you think about it? Or is that too far? You think that's a slippery slope?
It's a slippery slope.
Compared to the misinformation and the damage that misinformation is doing over time.
I get it, but I guess I want to have more faith in humanity. to the people just being knowledgeable and want to learn and things like that. I don't believe in censorship. Even if it's wrong, even if 92%, I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've heard.
Yeah.
But
go to TikTok, you'll find worse.
No, so my TikTok feed just has like girls jumping around and
you too?
Yeah.
You too? Oh, damn. I'm trying to get out of that, man. Watched one video. I can't make it go away. I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah.
There's one time late at night.
But
regrets.
Yeah, no, it's a slippery slope, and that's why I think it shouldn't be touched. Just like, Kirk and his speaking, that shouldn't be banned. Nor, first of all, the death is tragic. That's violence,
horrifying too.
Violence.
I haven't seen the video.
Nothing.
It's horrifying.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel when I watch like assassinations like that, or just hear about them, it's like we're in a third world country, and anyone they just get assassinated because they don't like them.
Oh yeah, that's the truth of it.
And that's awful.
It is,
and we shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know where it's going with that, but
I don't know if you saw after it happened, MSNBC, one of the MSNBC hosts, said that maybe like one of his fellow Republicans was excited and shot their gun off into the air and accidentally killed him. She was terminated. She's no longer with MSNBC. And well done, people. That's the kind of poison. It's just so brutal. I think Rashida Tlaib came out, disgusting human being. That is, if you want to see where our country will be destroyed, that's an example right there. So she came out with a tweet, long story short, that said, in my opinion, this is what you get.
The town hall that you had 6 days ago, you called Kirk a quote, hateful man, and you had reposted a video that I'm sure you've seen, you've taken criticism for. It's a video that called him a reprehensible human being and said, Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein and his monster shot him through the neck. Why repost that video?
Because there were a lot of things in the video that I did agree with. Obviously, we share videos. We don't have to agree with every single word. But I do believe he was a reprehensible, hateful man.
I think, perfectly honest, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I believe at least 90% of my values are the same as Charlie Kirk had. And my views, at least 90%.
Okay.
And I don't consider myself a hateful human being. I have some, but then again, doesn't mean other people wouldn't, you know?
Fair enough. So this is a clip of Charlie Kirk talking about Martin Luther King, and he referred to him as an awful person. And I never heard anything like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's definitely one of the big things that he's criticized for, was his condemnation of not only MLK as a person, but the effect that the Civil Rights Act had on black people, and I think what his opinion would be the state of black America currently compared to back in the day. That's some very, very controversial stuff, and things that I think are just used to attack him immediately without getting into the meat of what he's really saying and why. Yeah. You know, and I think that's the important stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say for the record, I think Aaron's going to be a phenomenal, I think you're going to be a phenomenal asset to the show. I think you've got a big, beautiful mind. He's got a big, beautiful mind. Single guys, ladies, I'm just throwing it out there, okay? That's right. But very intelligent, very thoughtful. And I really do look forward to us being able to tear apart some of these issues that are so important, and you know, and do our best to figure out what the truth is. Yeah. You know, and for the record, for anybody, you know, who doesn't know either one of us, right? So again, I'm in the middle, but I lean right. Aaron's in the middle, he leans left. I think that's
probably a true statement.
Yeah,
at least for me.
Yeah, and that's a good, healthy place for us to both come from, right? Like Pat, right? No one's walking away crying, you know. You know, if you do, we'll make fun of you forever. You know. Yeah. All right, so let's watch one of these quotes by Charlie Kirk in relation to MLK.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
Your thoughts, Aaron?
So, I like the colorblind society.
Love it.
That MLK projected. I mean, that's what I know of him. I didn't, you know, I've not done research on his background and his character and things like that. But yeah, so my biggest problem with DEI and affirmative action and all those things is I think you're artificially limiting the socioeconomic depressed people. Does that make sense? So typically black, but there's tons of white people who
Sure.
grow up impoverished.
Yeah.
And by artificially inflating them into situations where they're not ready for, you are hurting them in the long run. So affirmative action and DEI, they help in the short term, they hurt in the long term. That's my view of those types of things. Now, was MLK an awful person? I think that's a misstep. I think he has to respect what he did. Calling someone awful, I mean, that's like what Trump does. Trump is like, oh, they're an awful person.
I call people awful all the time. I'm going to call someone awful before the show's over.
you.
Okay, I'm going to make that
You're
crystal
an
clear.
awful person. No.
I right back at you, you awful son of a bitch.
But
First show, last show.
But no, I think we need to be more open and understand the long-term gains that yeah, DEI I don't think is helpful. I think it's hurtful in the long term.
While I talk real quick, can you pull up our bullets on this quote for some of the reasons why he felt that way? Let's see.
So the reparations. Just
Let's see. Okay, so it says Charlie Kirk points to MLK's later works, such as the 1964 book Why We Can't Wait, and 1967's Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, where MLK called for economic justice to address systemic inequalities faced by Black Americans. He proposed a Bill of Rights just specifically for the disadvantaged. So MLK wanted a special Bill of Rights only for Black people.
disadvantage.
You know that was Black people.
Well,
Guaranteed.
but we have
There's
to understand
no
that
version of which that's for white
there's
people,
white,
not disadvantaged white people.
Okay, there's
That's
disadvantaged
exactly
white
what he was
people,
talking
though.
about. No, we know they are. But
Okay.
That's guaranteed
Okay,
not
fair,
what was happening
fair,
here.
fair.
And so from Charlie's point of view, he makes an interesting argument in that, we've taken one line out of a speech and we decided this is who this man is.
He's an awful person.
Right, judging people by the quality of their character, essentially, right? And not the color of the skin and things that they can't change. And we've decided that that's what he was all about.
Mm-hmm.
But then you say, so Charlie's saying, okay, that was great. I wish we had more of that. I wish that was who he was. But the reality is later on in life, he fought to serve the Black community and the Black community over every other community. He wanted to create the same type of systemic inequality that Blacks had faced earlier in existence. He just wanted to switch it all around. And that appears to be, in my opinion, where Charlie's coming from. He said one right thing in a life full of poison, as far as he's concerned. He talks about, what are those other things you mentioned here? A whole bunch of stuff going on against him at the time.
MLK's adultery, there's an FBI file on him. I don't know.
Which doesn't necessarily mean anything at the time.
People are flawed.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I see where he's coming from 100%, I think, on this quote. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go ahead and say I side with Charlie 100% on this quote.
So my thing is the vitriol in terms of he's an awful person. I don't think you can...
He was an awful person. I said it. You heard it.
I think you should be able to talk about the person's views and not label them as being an awful person.
Okay, so let's pause real quick. So let's pretend my name is Mukukaka, and I am a white supremacist who is in the process of furthering Bill of Rights and special privileges that affect my race and my race only at the expense of every other race. I'm doing everything I can and using the power and authority and influence to ensure that my people are the supreme people of all.
I think you're misguided. I want to
me.
know what the fuck happened to you. How were you raised? Like, So
you wouldn't call me an awful person? With that explanation?
I think you're terribly misguided. I don't say awful person. I
I'd call me an awful person, but that's fair. Well, that's fair.
So this is where I guess I believe, again, that humans are generally good. And bad shit happens that causes them to do bad things.
Sure. Or unhealthy influences.
Whatever.
One of the bad things. Yeah. Lots of different reasons. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't know. Is he an awful person if he starts beating his wife and raping children and doing things like that?
But what if he's in the process of trying to enact laws that put Mukukaka's race above everyone else? So everything benefits
the rest of the country.
So the jobs
has to go
benefits,
against them.
White people.
The rest of
every single thing goes
that's
against.
where democracy comes into place. The public will judge when we pass the laws, or don't pass laws now because everyone's divisive.
Yeah.
But no.
Everyone's lying to us.
But yeah, that's where I think democracy is good because. Well, people get an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, you don't get to decide. You decide for yourself. The only thing you can control is your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And, yeah.
So, let me push back a little bit.
But to govern it.
I think there are scenarios in which then you would call someone an awful person. So, I'm
There are.
Mukukaka again, okay?
Mukukaka,
I go home.
Person.
I know. I go home. So the funny thing is, my name is Micah, and when I was young, my dad nicknamed me Mukukaka. Thanks, Dad. That was his nickname for me as a child, Mukukaka. Thank you. Yes, that's where that comes from. Thank you, Father. But so, let's say every night, I, Mukukaka, go home, and I beat my wife. Am I an awful person?
I think so.
Okay, so I've physically harmed one human being and I'm an awful person. Now compare the Mukukaka who's in the process of creating a special set of laws that privileges thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people that harms all the rest of them. When I think about the scale of evil of a person who tries to promote something like that, awful it doesn't even match up.
So I guess the biggest thing to me is the intent. What are they intending to do?
To put their race above all others. That's what I'm doing, Mukukaka. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, so Mukukaka, if
I want everything to benefit my race as Mukukaka.
That doesn't seem like a smart plan.
That doesn't seem like an educated people, plan. It's the most smart plan. Everything comes for us in a silver
you and your
platter.
People, but dude, why do you give a fuck? I mean, that's why I like MLK's colorless thing. Like colorless religion, I don't care if you're Christian or you're white, black.
Yeah, same here. I couldn't care less.
It's irrelevant.
Content of your character, and it's not one line in the book of my life. Let me make that clear. Okay, I couldn't care what race you are, right? What color you are, any of that stuff. Period. The content of your character is all that matters. Period for me.
Yeah.
Who you are, what you say, what you do.
And what
how you handle things when you make mistakes, all those things are so huge. The things you stand up for, especially when no one else will.
So Mukukaka.
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 Right. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
right. It's one strike.
I should get censored because I mispronounced the name, right?
That's on strike 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You still got some time.
But yeah, why do they want to support just their race? What was the reason? Were they oppressed?
I think that's the easy one. So I think that's probably the most standard answer there. I'm sure someone will argue against that, but the oppressed want the opportunity to oppress those who have oppressed them. You have fucked us over for 100 years. It's our turn to fuck you over for 100 years. What's the flaw in that plan? Obviously, the other side comes back in power again eventually, right? It's a destructive system that ensures one side has all the power, all the privilege, all the greatness, and the other side is filled with hate and resentment. And then that evil comes out when they're back in power, and it's never ending back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Hate and resentment are.
Oh yeah.
That's something that I learned. Just recently, honestly, probably in the last 3 or 4 years of my life, is getting rid of hate and resentment out of your life is that's huge, because I forgive people because I don't want to carry the hate in me. So it's a selfish thing. I forgive people.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand the hate. I can't.
It's probably a whole podcast episode.
Yeah, that's another. That's another.
No, it's great. No, I'm not saying don't talk about it. I think it's extremely fascinating. We could probably talk for a couple of hours on that subject.
Yeah.
It's a tricky thing. You know, it's like some version of you says it's important for me to be able to differentiate between the good and the bad people. I know that's very simplistic, but we kind of keep it simple here, right? The good and the bad people. You almost have, I know for me, it feels like I have a responsibility internally to label people correctly, especially when they are hateful or dangerous or something along those lines. I feel for me that it's important for me to see people clearly, irrelevant of things like party affiliation or friendship or things like that. And it's probably the dangerous realm when it becomes hatred. Hatred is probably the thing that it removes your logic sensors. Probably it makes you
causes Charlie Kirk to get fucking
it
killed.
does. It says it says this other group is so evil because I've made them that way in my head that anything I do to them is justified. That's what people do against the Jews. That's exactly the thing. They've heard so much about the Jews that no matter what evil atrocity, right? Hamas putting babies in microwaves, right? And we still have people inside of Hamas. And you know how they justify it? They say all the evil that the Jews did to them. How can you blame them? But I condemn that baby in the oven. You're like, oh my God. And I feel like that's one of our problems in society. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the standard thing right now. We say we condemn the terrorist act, but we support their right to fight for their right, we support them fighting. We believe they should be fighting, and they're justified to be fighting. They may have done it wrong this one time, but we're on their side. And you're like, wow, imagine if one Jewish person put one baby in an oven. You never in the world would that be forgiven, ever. But that's one of a million examples from people like Hamas, the groups like Hamas, all these other Islamic terrorist organizations around the world. And we forgive them all. Not we, I don't forgive. And I'll definitely say that's something I struggle with, I think, at times, is ensuring that the way I feel about dangerous groups that are causing true harm in the world, not the pretend shit, but I think I definitely struggle sometimes in maybe not hatred, but something close, perhaps, in how I feel.
Okay.
Anger, if not close to rage, I will tell you.
It's a rage.
It is rage at the evil that's done by some of these groups and then by leaders and politicians and news agencies across the world that cover up for them. Yeah. It is evil and irresponsibility on a realm that should put you up against a wall. And you should be put in prison for the rest of your life, if not worse. Obviously, no illegal violence, nothing vaguely like that, but what are my thoughts about that?
That's interesting. Yeah. Misinformation.
Yeah.
Or is it misinformation if it's, I guess, I don't know how they phrase things, like how people interpret things and then express them. Again, I want to think people are good in general. That's a belief I have.
Yeah.
But when they do it for profit, and I think that's what the media companies all care about, is just it sells.
Yeah.
It sells.
Then I come back to the same thing again. Why is there no regulation? There seems to be. So here's an example. So I'm going to give you an example, right?
All right.
Okay, so take someone, a newspaper like the New York Times, who are consistently on the side of terrorists. year after year, year after year, year after year. This is the New York Times. What's their whole thing? Democracy dies. What was it? Democracy dies in darkness or something like that. I can't remember their phrase, but basically their whole thing is we tell the truth about shit. Okay, so now what happens is we have one powerful, moving story after another, gripping images, starving children, things like that they put in their article. The majority of all the information comes from Hamas, or trickled down from Hamas to the people they control. All of it comes from Hamas. And this whole thing comes out. They find out that it's all a lie. Oh, what a shocker. The terrorists, who rape and kill people lied to me. Oh, what a shocker. And nothing happens. Nothing happens to them. And then the next hoax comes from the terrorists, and they do that again and again and again and again. Every single time they're on whatever the terrorists tell them, they believe, and they all reproduce it amongst themselves. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's saying the same exact stuff. And when you look into it, you find that they're lies. They're very clear lies. Yeah. The example I'll give, right, will be there was a recent article in New York Times a couple weeks back. And again, this is just one of many. There are endless amounts, okay? Hospital bombing not too long ago as well, right? Let's do the hospital bombing real quick, right? Well, so the news comes out and they say that it's been reported that the Gazan Ministry of Health, okay, was run by Hamas terrorists, has come out and said Israel shot a missile and hit our hospital and killed 500 people. The world was outraged. People are pitchforks ready to kill all the Jews everywhere. And now,
smart tactic.
And so now what happens, and then when you look into it as time goes on, we start to find out more. Okay, now it wasn't 500 people. It was 50. Holy shit. 10 times difference? Okay. So not is it not 500, now it's 50. The hospital wasn't hit. The parking lot next to the hospital was hit. Oh, so they didn't fire a missile at the hospital. Okay. Then we find out it wasn't a missile. It was a misfired rocket from a Hamas terrorist. Every single main news organization across the world ran this story. Yeah. Period. Turned out to be a lie. Here's another recent one. New York Times puts a picture of a woman, a zoomed-in picture of a mom holding her starving child, clearly starving, talking about how evil Jews are for starving all these innocent Palestinian children. Okay? Now, what you find out later on, we find out a few things, right? If you were to take that same picture that they showed and you just zoomed out a little bit to see the full picture, because they showed a zoomed-in picture, you see the full image of the mom. She doesn't appear to be starving. Well, that's kind of strange. Then you see this starving child's little, 4-year-old brother standing right there in the background. Guess who's not starving? The 4-year-old child. So now we're telling me that New York Times, who has the full photo, okay, sees one emaciated person out of 3 people, and terrorists are telling you, right, and are telling you that it's starvation. You're believing what they're saying, and your eyes know the truth immediately. Okay, then you find out, right, he had a pre-existing conditions that I think it was it cerebral palsy, maybe? It was something that affected his ability to take nutrients in and would often lead to looking emaciated, not being able to get enough nutrients. Yeah. So you find out now that it's all a lie. It's all a scam, okay? So what does the New York Times do? Okay? They write a little addition after the article, okay? And the addition said something like, I don't remember the exact words, but I read it myself, okay? It basically said, this starving Gazan child also had a pre-existing condition. So they're doubling down on the lie. to make it seem like the Jews are killing all the innocent Palestinians.
Yeah.
Now, there's no legal repercussion whatsoever for that news organization. That you know who watches stuff like that? My mom, my dad, my family, my
Everyone.
friends, everyone. And what they're doing is they're believing the lies, and no one's holding these people accountable. And what's happening in their hearts, hate is growing and growing and growing. And it's hate against Israel. It's hate against Netanyahu. It's hate against the Jews. And it's all a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't surprise me though. I mean,
whether or not it surprises, it's so destructive for society, because what it says is that we will all propagate a lie. We all know it's a lie, all us important people, and we're going to lie anyway. And by doing that, we're turning the whole world against these group of people. And we've seen historically what's happened. Jews have been wiped out in almost every single country they've ever been involved in by Muslims, for the record. Let's make that crystal clear. They've been wiped out almost everywhere. Well, yeah, not all Muslims, but mostly Muslims. And you say, well, what's the result of that? The result of that is the world comes together over their hatred of the Jews. And they do everything they can to sanction and stop sending them bullets and ammo and defenses. And then all the Islamic countries who've been trying to wipe them off the face of the planet forever, they will wipe them off of the face of the planet. And when they're done wiping them off the face of the planet, who are they going to come for next? The next greatest evil in all society, agreed upon, it's white people. The problem is, once you allow such evil lies to continue, and they have the risk of literally genociding and inciting people because of it, once those people are gone, they look for someone who's the next target.
No,
We've accepted that this is how we do business now.
I get it, but free speech, man. Sorry, I believe in it.
Sure, but do you believe in it, you know, when you're being hunted in your backyard, you and your kids are hiding out in a fucking cave after all the kids have been fucking dead, all the Jews have been killed, all your neighbors, your brothers, your cousins are being hunted out in the streets. Your, illegal charges are fake charges, including everything humanly possible to discredit you and destroy you and your family. You don't give a fuck about free speech. That's the future that comes to our descendants, our children's children, if we allow this stuff to continue. So we say, where does free speech end when we're causing the end of humanity as we know it? Something has to change.
Something has to change, but at the same time, as soon as you put someone in a regulatory power in that situation, it's over.
I mean, it's dangerous. Both sides are very dangerous with that concept. I get that.
And that's my biggest concern is who determines whether or not that image of the starving child should be stricken or not.
Well, once you find out it's a lie, it should be stricken. Like that's all a dishonest story. But people who, if you're taking information from terrorists and you're speaking it like it's the truth, something needs to happen to you. I don't give a shit. Obviously, not you be killed, shot in the neck, horrible shit. But you need to be censored, put in prison, something vaguely along those lines. I know it sounds dangerous, but there has to be some line where those who are destroying society by taking advantage, something has to stop there.
Yeah.
And I know it's such a delicate, slippery slope.
But that's my biggest problem is
you have to find the spot because it's destroying all of humanity. It's destroying societies. It's destroying our
education.
It's destroying people, right? Hatred.
Education.
Yeah.
That's my biggest pet peeve.
And that's a good point, right? Why do we not talk about the history of the Palestinian and Jewish conflict in high school? Why don't we specifically go into all that?
There's a million different things. Well,
the reason why is the same, and this is the problem with the left side, because the left says it's more wrong to offend a group of people who are responsible for the worst atrocities in the world than it is for those atrocities to speak about those atrocities. It's wrong. So we say, so we say, okay, so, we talk about the first Antifada, right? The second Antifada, basically a call for genocide against the Jews. Massive, massive violence. Why isn't that taught in school? Why isn't it taught that when when Israel was trying to make peace treaties and repeatedly, 7 times now, attempting to give the quote-unquote Palestinians a state, 7 times. Not only did they refuse it every time because they want all of it and they want to kill all the Jews, right? Then they started doing things immediately like blowing up buses, blowing up people walking to school. It's not like they went after targets and sometimes innocent people lost their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal was and has been to this day to kill as many innocent civilians as possible. How is that every child in America doesn't know that story? So when they hear about the poor Palestinians, they're like, oh, yeah, we know all about you. We know exactly what it means when you say, oh, woe is me. It means you want the ability to destroy, rape, murder, slaughter, blow up children, cut their fucking faces off, shoot things into women's privates and kill them, the most evil shit humanly possible. How does every American in America not know that? That's where we've gone wrong when it comes to education. We know Hitler was a bad guy. How do we not know that each one of these Palestinians was a terrible guy? Why don't we know about the stuff that they've done? Why don't we know that the quote-unquote good guys in the West Bank, why don't we know they have a pay-for-slay program where they pay terrorists to kill Jews? And we're all funding it. Every country in the world is funding this country to kill Jews.
That's
How the
true.
fuck is this happening right now?
I worked on that.
Yeah. What you got? Sorry.
No, I worked on some. No, I won't get into some of the work I did. But why is that?
Because it's more offensive to talk about what those people are doing, because it comes back to the ideology that they live by. And then it gets really uncomfortable
so
because then we go to school, we go to work, and we sit alongside people who have that same ideology. Maybe they don't follow all 10 of the rules. They only follow 7, right? And so it gets really tricky, really complicated now, right? And we don't want to offend these people. We don't make them feel uncomfortable. And I get that. I would feel uncomfortable, right? We're still talking about evil white racism every day when it barely exists in America as far as I'm concerned. I get it. And it would make me feel uncomfortable. But I also know that it would be important if this was a real issue in society right now.
So it's a slippery slope the other way.
Yeah. It means, and this is something that I credit the left specifically with, is obscuring the truth because we do not want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
And to such an extent, it's much worse in Europe right now. We're seeing the demise of Europe right now through open border immigration. Not only do they not want to offend people who are doing some of these atrocities, they go out of their way to protect them, to not prosecute them, because they don't want to upset the society. They do things like allow them to have their own Sharia courts. They have their own laws now in one country after another. In America, wherever I think Rashida Tlaib is, it's one of the M places. It's not Mississippi. It's not Missouri. I can't ever think of the other ones. No, it's not that one either. There's a couple of them.
Minnesota.
But Minnesota. They have the call to, I think it's Minnesota. If I'm wrong, it's one of the places. They have the call to prayer. The Muslim call to prayer plays 6 times a day over the loudspeakers of every mosque everywhere. Can you imagine what that would be like right now if 6 times a day, everywhere we heard the loudspeakers like we're living in an Islamic country? While we're then allowing them to have their own rules and their own laws?
So that's not okay.
It's not okay.
But for them
that's
to blast
what's happening. It starts with not telling the truth about them, and then going as far as to let them have their own laws, their own rules.
Yeah.
And then what they do, then they start with, these are our own leaders, right? Then they create blasphemy laws. They make it so that if you say anything about the evil that's happening, you're now going to get arrested. That's happening across Europe right now.
Yeah.
So if you were to talk about the possible hundreds of thousands of young white women who have been gang raped by Islamists over the last 10, 15, 20 years, you will be arrested. You will be arrested for saying that. While the majority of all these people are not being prosecuted, and they've said it. They've said, we don't want to upset the Muslim community. Outrageous. outrageous.
Yeah.
It's that concept you mentioned. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. Please forgive me. It's a concept you mentioned before, or maybe it's Charlie Kirk. It's one of his 3 quotes, the empathy thing. It's some combination of that. We want to protect people so bad that we'll protect pedophiles, child rapists, murderers, the worst people humanly possible, because we feel bad. Oh, we don't know what kind of life they led. Yeah, he may have raped and murdered and slaughtered this entire family, but yeah, we don't know what kind of life they led. We need to give them as kindness we can to them. Let's sweep it under the rug. Let's not prosecute them. Let's take the murder charge. Let's put it down to manslaughter. They do it all. And it's all coming from the left. And make no mistake, there's a lot of stuff to critique the right about. This is why President Trump got reelected, because the left was destroying the very fabric of society. Pro-terrorist, pro-criminal, anti-white, anti-Jew, open borders, outrageous. Pro gender ideology, destroying the minds and bodies of young children, outrageous. They made it so unsafe to be a Democrat anymore that everybody voted Republican. In my opinion, it was a landslide, and it was a combination of all those things. And depending who you are, maybe 1 or 2 of those matter to you, or 2 or 3. But the reality is, most people can relate to at least 1 or 2 of those. And they said, I can't do this anymore. I can't be a part of this. Where's the blue party? My blue party has betrayed me. They betrayed the values that not only just betrayed, they've endangered the very fabric of society.
So I do agree. But it's also the other things that the Red's doing that I don't like. The overfocus on religion, number 1, and then the abortion thing. I think that they're all wrong. Okay.
Let's do abortion. Let's do abortion, because that's one of the quotes from Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk was, he didn't believe in abortion.
Right.
One of his controversial quotes was, he was asked if his own daughter was raped and became pregnant, would he still support her having that child? He said, he said something to the effect, I wouldn't murder a child to right the wrong that happened. I wouldn't kill that child because something horrible had happened to my own. How do you feel about? How do you feel? I've been talking for too long. Please forgive me. How do you feel about the abortion stuff?
No, the abortion's the woman's choice. Period.
According to you.
Yeah.
According to you.
According to me.
So the man has no right at all.
Nope.
So he can father a child, and a woman has the right to just kill it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. Outrageous.
So I guess this gets into the religious. I mean, the child did. Once it's born, no, yep, stays alive. If it's not born,
why? What does it matter where the child is at the time, whether it's outside a body or inside a body? It's still alive, right?
Because of developmental stuff.
Still going to develop into a human.
Yeah.
Either way.
I mean, shit, you jerk off and you fucking kill 1 million sperm. How are you not the asshole?
Well, you haven't created a baby. That's the whole thing. I think I went very far back and forth. When I was younger, I absolutely believed in women's right to choose. Mm-hmm. But I never, ever believed in women's right to choose without the man having a say. I think that is evil. That is awful. To kill someone else's child, it's outrageous.
But you're forcing them to go through it, and
no. They made the choice by 9 out of 10 times being irresponsible, and that's why their actions said, "I didn't care enough about the life of this child, and now it's alive, and now I'm going to kill it."
It's like idiocracy. That's why I support abortion. It's going to be idiocracy.
A lot of them aren't idiots. A lot of them just young kids, foolish, making mistakes.
So how the hell are they going to raise a kid?
Well, does that mean it should be killed? There are
I think
so many people in America who would love to adopt a child, and there's so few children to
I
go
hear that,
around.
but
If
you
they
have
don't
to,
want it, there's a
you have
family
to
that would
snap the
love
chalk
that.
somewhere, right?
How about it not killing the child?
How about
That's how I feel
before
about
it's
that
birthed?
one. Well, I would say before
that's where I snap.
I would say before it's in the process of becoming a child. I think anything you do to stop that from beginning, I think that's fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But for me, later in life, later in life, it feels like battery's low on the computer. Yeah, later in life, I don't know how to make a decision on it. I have gone back and forth so much, and I don't know what the right answer is. But
There's no right or wrong.
I think there probably is.
No, I think that's why it's a personal choice.
The killing of a child is always evil, irrelevant of the scenario. I think that's probably where I lean. And if it were up to me to make the decision, abortions are out the fucking window. Okay, that's a wrap. Period. You want to kill your child, you go do it somewhere else.
So my biggest thing is,
and in addition to that, though, we're going to majorly ramp up our services for families and children in general. We're going to speed up the ability to adopt children.
Who's going to pay for all this shit?
We're all going to pay for it. That's how America works.
That's the problem.
That's how America works.
People have
Everybody's
to
going to
pay
pay
for this shit.
Yes, not killing children is we'll find the money somewhere. Okay. That's how I roll on that one. Yeah, exactly. Right. We can do a public transit system. We can not kill the kids.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I would do something like that. I would make it say, okay, yeah, you're going to have to go. You made the choice. You went down the path. You're not going to be allowed to kill a child because of your irresponsible decision. If you don't want to keep a child, that's fine. We will make this as easy as a process as possible to make sure that another family is able to raise that child, because you'll be giving the true gift of not only life for that child, but the ability to have a family. Some people never would have that opportunity.
I think that's the extreme case. I think the vast majority of it is just another child that's born into poor socioeconomic situations, which repeats.
Wait, which part is extreme? I thought that was a
no. The extreme is the number of people that are trying to adopt versus the number of abortions. All right, I don't know the number off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't have a clue
but
either.
I guarantee
but all I know is there's a huge shortage. Long waits.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
So there's
definitely the number of abortions versus the number of people trying to get a kid.
It would be neat. It would be neat to figure out what that is. This is where I wish, we had our AI bot by now. You know, and like we're just sitting here right in the middle, and he's like, doo, 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 doo. The correct answer is you're both idiots. You know what I mean? That's what we need. I know. Come on, Elon, make it affordable. Damn it! Don't lie to us as often. Jesus.
Yeah.
What? So abortion. You're pro-abortion. I'm anti-abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we got one more big one from Charlie before our laptop dies over here.
Empathy.
Yeah. And I think we did the empathy thing a bit. I think.
Yeah.
I think we already kind of hit that up a bit. I believe empathy as again, he uses the word empathy, and I think you can slot in a couple of different words for that in general. But that's how I feel in general. We use people's empathy. I'll just use it. I think the word empathy has been hijacked, and what it really means now is it's used to protect terrorists, criminals, murderers, rapists, groups that are responsible for so much evil in the past and currently, country after country, place after place. Empathy has become a weapon that is now used to protect the evil and those who are conducting evil in this world. I'm 100% with Charlie on that one because I have felt this way for a long, long time.
So, empathy's a thing.
And I'm very empathetic, for the record. It's funny, yeah.
So it's how people are using it and weaponizing it. To say empathy is a bad thing or anything like that, I don't really agree with. Again, it's how are people telling the story? What's the truth?
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, do your research.
Yeah.
Groundnews.com. Sponsor us.
I'm subscribed as well. Groundnews.com.
Sponsor us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So this is a clip of Charlie Kirk here, talking about guns, and I really don't know on this clip. Like, I'm really torn.
It's a fascinating one. So the clip is called Charlie Kirk says gun deaths are worth it. Protect our rights in a resurfaced clip. So he's basically saying, well let's listen to it.
And that's all.
So that's us learning a lesson for the next episode. Our laptop with the clip and our notes just died.
But
so if you happen to be one of the 7 to 11 followers, this is pretty common. There's a lot of growing pains we have had on this show. Holy crap. Amount of content we've lost. And we have 3. This is our 4th episode. We've lost multiple other episodes. Gosh, the amount of technical things that go wrong in the blink of an eye. Whew. A lot of learning. So basically, hopefully we'll pause the video right now to throw that clip in.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to 0. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
I'm really torn on this issue because it gets back into regulating things. I'm a gun owner. Mm-hmm. I own many firearms.
I need more guns.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
But how do you police that to stop the stupid people? How do you control stupid people? I guess that's the biggest thing, right? And that's why I'm torn. Do I say it's awful to put it in that words? I think Bill O'Reilly said something along those lines too, like this is the cost of freedom. Mm-hmm. But man, I have 2 kids. They're in school. It's fucking terrifying. With school shootings and shit like that. It's how do you responsibly allow that without, again, regulatory? And that's my biggest thing is like, I don't know how you regulate. I feel I'm a very responsible gun owner. I've been trained with all of them. But what's the standard? Is there a standard? Do you have to complete a standard to own a firearm? I don't know. That's why I'm really torn on this issue. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just torn. Like, shit's got to stop, but at the same time, you can't encroach on those people's rights. So, yeah. That's my thoughts. I'm really torn.
Yeah, so you're torn with supporting the amendment while also, if I'm getting this correct, right, while also being concerned with, the idiots, if you will, in the world who abuse that Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And cause deaths and destruction because of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question then. Let's say we swap out the word car with the word knife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now it's worth it to have a few knife deaths every year for us to continue to have the ability to use knives in our society.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that one?
It makes sense. So I see the arc you're going.
I'm going to cars next.
Yeah, cars.
Vehicles will be the next one.
Mm-hmm. That's why the fucking autonomous driving, man. I'm telling you.
Then we'll go for like McDonald's milkshakes after that. So we're gonna spiral through this thing.
Well,
right?
so the thing with like, I think cars are the #1 death in the United States.
I think they are.
I think they are.
I'm pretty positive. My sister just looked this up yesterday.
Yeah,
we had this discussion. Yeah,
and the autonomous driving.
Right
when we get to autonomous driving, people are like, well, there's this extreme situation where there's a guy on a sidewalk and crash or whatever. I'm like, dude, if we just do autonomous driving, we're going to save so many more lives. But guns are a little more hyperbolic, right?
Guns don't necessarily serve a purpose in a way like something like even a knife or a car would.
Right.
We'll say that, yeah.
And the Second Amendment was to make sure that if the government oppresses society or their governing body enough, they can rise up against them. So that's the reason I think the Second Amendment was there. But don't bring a knife to an Apache fight.
I hear ya.
So if you want to really rise up against the military, it's going to take a little more than a gun.
Should we throw Apache in there instead of using car?
Fuck yeah, you should have an Apache.
It's worth it to have a few Apache jets in order to keep flying Apaches for the rest of our lives. No, and that's definitely one of his. It's one of a very controversial statement. A lot of people have a lot of hatred towards Charlie for that.
It's not hatred.
Because they take that, and what they say is, it's okay for you to kill us. They take it like that. And I shouldn't say they, but many people, they take a phrase like he said there, and they turn it into what you're saying is it's okay for the police to kill me. You're like, wait, what? What are you talking about, right? It's okay for evil white racists to murder me. Like, no, nobody's saying anything like that. You know what I mean? You're projecting your own hate
but it's hyperbolic,
into the thing that he's saying,
and
you're making it into the thing that helps continue to radicalize you.
Yeah.
You know, I think Charlie Kirk was correct in what he said. And I know this is being used against him right now. This phrase is basically saying, well, now he's one of the people who's died from gun deaths, which is awful.
That's awful.
And I don't know Charlie personally. I wish I had, of course. But I truly believe that if he were still alive, he would not be a fan of that, you know?
Yeah,
I think he would, I feel very confident he'd say, I completely agree with our amendment rights. Even if it costs me my own life, that does not change how I felt. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
No, and probably would say that.
I would be
I don't
the
think
same. Even if heaven somehow manages to exist, I'm going to be up there. Okay, I'm making it in. One door's letting me in. I don't know which one. It's a side door they're letting me in. I'm working the magic. Okay, and I know I'm the death from gun violence. I'm not going to change how I felt because I still know it was the right thing, irrelevant of what it cost me.
So you have to live on your principles.
You do, and it's a rare thing, Yeah, really tough.
Wow.
But see, so I'm a big fan of that. I supported that statement. I don't think it's anywhere near as controversial as it seems. I just believe, I think with something like weapons, if you are a dangerous criminal, you shouldn't have a weapon. If you have some mental illness that could make you dangerous, you shouldn't have a weapon.
But again,
there should be regulations. So there should be. Should we have stuff like loopholes with going to like a gun show, for example, and being able to take home a gun compared to going to an actual shop and having like a wait period, for example. So you don't go then kill your ex as soon as you get home. So there's stuff like that where there are loopholes that allow like mentally ill people to still get weapons. And that stuff, that's an easy answer for me. You shut that shit down, period. You want to have guns? You just do it in the most responsible way possible. Right. So then you have real ammo when people come after you. I don't mean in bullets-wise ammo, but knowledge ammo, right? Okay, so we're doing everything as good as we can.
Yeah.
And we still have some bad outcomes because of it, but we're doing it as responsibly as we can.
No. So I agree 100%, but the problem is trying to enforce that and police that. And every year you have to go and get a psychological exam to make sure you can still own your firearms? I mean...
Well, hopefully not to that extent. But there should be certain things, and that's such a tricky one there.
See, that's why it's so hard to enforce.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm torn. But no, I totally agree. You should have to be a responsible gun owner to own a gun. But who determines what's responsible? And that's why I'm torn.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So many of them are,
Yeah.
Well, I guess we try to wrap this up. I think we've covered enough content in general I hope for our viewers out there, I hope that we have discussed the passing of Charlie Kirk and some of his controversial statements. I hope we have done it in a kind and polite and respectful way, and I believe that we have.
Respect, yeah.
Make no mistake, Aaron and myself have nothing but respect and love and care. What happened to him was truly awful. Look at it. I'm starting to tear literally just thinking about it right now.
Has no place in the United States. Period.
Yep. Especially for a man whose entire existence was devoted to debating his ideas safely and healthy. It hurts to lose a man like that.
Yeah,
when we have people like Candace and Tucker Carlson who are just poisoning the party right now. You take a man like Charlie, while those people are still destroying the hearts and minds of people that I love and care about right now on the red side.
It's awful.
Yeah. So anyway, please forgive me, but thank you all for your time, Aaron. It has been a phenomenal first episode.
It's been awesome.
I love you, brother. I'm
Love you
so
too, man.
glad that you're part of the show.
You're still awful.
Oh, right back at you, son of a bitch. And give us some time here. We have some really creative ideas of how to grow the show, grow our following, and offer a lot more to you in the future. And we're very excited in the future to release some of these things.
Awesome.
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing here is to try to shed light on society, on what's happening in our world, in our families, in our jobs, in our homes, right? And it's we won't always do it correctly. We'll stumble along the way. As I've said before, I will. I'm the wrong stat guy. I'm that guy. Yeah, episode 2 or 3. I know, the wrong stat guy real quick. But like I said, you've been a great addition to the show.
Awesome.
I appreciate your friendship more than you can know. I truly mean that. I value your friendship about 1,000,000 times before I value you sitting in that chair.
Thank you.
Always remember that.
Will do.
But don't you fucking dare quit on me, you son of a bitch.
I won't quit.
Because with a beautiful
Can't stop, won't
mind
stop.
like yours, you and I are going to be able to do some really incredible things. And I'm
right.
beyond excited to see what the two of us.
I'm looking forward to it.
create as time goes on.
I enjoy open-mindedness and to be able to debate without going to the emotional extremes where you scream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
and I'm the emotional one. So I'm like 50-50 logic and emotion. It's all about that logic, and then I emotion it right with that logic. I'm definitely that guy.
I think I might have 1% of emotion in me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might.
We'll
Maybe
work
2.
on it.
We'll see.
You cold-hearted bastard. Last thing I just want to say real quick. I'm going to do something I've never done before. I just want to do a real quick shout-out to a couple of the influencers, YouTube influencers, for example, people who have been very beneficial, people I watch on a regular basis. Actual Justice Warrior, I'm looking at you, brother. Phenomenal job. This is a man who, please check out his channel. He is constantly talking about crime statistics, the way that people in authority are abusing that authority. He's a very, very phenomenal guy. Nothing but respect for him. I just started listening to recently a YouTube channel called Chicks on the Right. It's these two ladies who are clearly in the Republican Party. They're big Trump fans. They are, I think they're phenomenal personalities.
Okay.
I love the way that they hold, what's that phrase? What's an offensive phrase? Was it horrible? What's that phrase? Awful. They, on a regular basis, discuss quote-unquote awful, that's right, awful people on the right, like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. That's the kind of thing I have such endless respect for. Love your party enough to hold it accountable. Love your party enough to critique it when it's poison, when it's destructive, when it's evil. And so, Chicks on the Right, you're doing a hell of a job. Love you all. I say, Actual Justice Warrior, big fan. Gosh, there's so many I listen to. Who do you got?
Vertasium.
Vertasium.
He's a science guy, so it's all scientists. But he did the thing about the voting systems and rank ordering voting systems and things like that. But a true scientist who very logic based. Awesome.
Nice. I have to check him out.
Yeah.
I'll do 2 more. PragerU, I'm going to give PragerU a huge shout out. You guys are doing incredible things. Please keep up the good work, and don't let all the hate that comes your way affect what you're doing. What you're doing is right, and do what's right in your heart. Trust me, people notice and people care. And the last one I'll give is his channel is called Traveling Israel. He is an Israeli travel guide, obviously in Israel, and he has endless videos on the struggle. Today, it has truly been a pleasure.
Thank you, Evan.
And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what's ahead of us in the future.
All right.
All right. Thank you all for your time. You take care, and we'll see you next time. Love people enough.